Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different here today. This is going to be tied mostly in with what I do as my day job, because believe it or not, this whole YouTube thing does not pay the bills. And today I want to dive deep into one of the biggest IT disasters in recent history, the CrowdStrike incident. Now, whether you're a tech professional who lived through this nightmare, or someone who just heard about it on the news and wondered, well, how does one company break the entire internet? Well, this video is for you. We'll explore what actually happened, why it was so devastating, and most importantly, the lessons we can learn to prevent this from happening again. Because spoiler alert, this wasn't just bad luck, this was preventable. Without further ado, let's take a look. Remember the 19th of July 2024? Well, if you were travelling that day, you probably do. Airports around the world ground to a halt, flights were cancelled, hospitals had to postpone surgeries, and even your local coffee shop might have been unable to process payments. All because of a single software update that had gone wrong. So first, let's set the scene. CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity company that makes software which acts as a digital bodyguard for computers. This software runs deep inside Windows systems at what's called the kernel level. Basically, the most privileged, powerful part of the operating system. When the software is running, it has complete control over your computer, which makes sense because it needs that power to protect against highly sophisticated cyber attacks. On the 19th of July, CrowdStrike pushed out what seemed to be a routine update to their Falcon platform. Just a small configuration file update to improve their threat detection. But this wasn't just any update. This file contained corrupted data that caused Falcon to crash. And when Falcon crashed, it took the entire Windows system down with it. Millions of computers worldwide were suddenly struck in an endless cycle of reboots and blue screens of death. But here's what made this truly catastrophic. The affected computers couldn't even start up properly. IT teams had to physically go into each machine, boot it in safe mode, and manually delete the problematic file. Imagine having to do that for thousands upon thousands of computers across hospitals, airports, and banks simultaneously. Now, you might be thinking, surely they tested this update before releasing it. Well, that's where things get interesting and, quite frankly, a little scary. CrowdStrike did have automated testing in place. In fact, their automated test suite was passing with flying colours, 100% green across the board. But here's the problem. Those tests weren't designed to catch this particular type of failure. They were testing only the happy path, i.e. what happens when everything goes right. They weren't testing what happens when the configuration data is corrupted, or when the system is under stress, or when things just go spectacularly wrong. This exposes what experts call the DevOps and automation dilemma. We've become so reliant on automated testing that we've forgotten a crucial truth. Automation is a tool, not a solution. Those green check marks on the test dashboard created a false sense of security. Everyone assumed that if the automated tests passed, everything was fine. Looking back, this disaster was actually predictable. They were red flags that were overlooked. Reoccurring minor issues had been happening for months, but they were dismissed as isolated incidents rather than symptoms of a deeper problem. Inadequate regression testing meant that past issues weren't being properly retested to ensure they couldn't happen again. Over-reliance on automation meant that human testers weren't exploring edge cases and unusual scenarios. Rushed release schedules and pressure to ship quickly meant that quality assurance and security teams were being forced to cut corners. Teams working in silos meant that different groups weren't collaborating effectively to spot potential problems. All of these factors combined to create what's called a cumulative effect. Individually, none of these issues might have been catastrophic, but together they created the perfect storm. The impact was staggering. CrowdStrike faced a $60 million revenue shortfall. Their stock price fell by nearly half in less than a month, and they suffered considerable damage to their reputation. But the real cost was felt by everyone else: cancelled flights, delayed medical procedures, disrupted financial services, and countless hours of lost productivity worldwide. There's even a darker side to this story. Cybercriminals quickly capitalized on the chaos, sending out phishing emails pretending to be from CrowdStrike, offering emergency fixes that were actually malware. When systems are down and people are desperate, they are more likely to become vulnerable to social engineering attacks. So, what can we learn from this? Well, whether you're a tech professional or just someone who relies on technology every day, these lessons matter. First, you need an integrated approach to testing. Automation is great for checking the basics quickly and consistently, but we also need human testers doing manual and exploratory testing, poking and prodding the system in ways that automated tests might miss. Second, you need collaborative test planning. Different teams need to work together to identify potential failure points and ensure that testing covers real-world scenarios, not just theoretical ones. Third, you need proper recovery plans in place. When things go wrong, you'll need ways to quickly roll back changes or isolate problems before they cascade across entire systems. Fourth, you need to test patches in real-world conditions, not just in sanitized lab environments. And finally, you need to foster an ownership culture where everyone feels responsible for quality, not just the quality assurance team. Now, if you're not in tech, you might be wondering, well, what does this mean for me? Well, this incident shows how interconnected our digital world has become. A single software update from one company can ground planes, shut down hospitals, and disrupt commerce globally. As consumers and users of technology, we need to understand that no system is perfect and have backup plans for when technology fails. Be extra cautious during major outages, as cybercriminals will often exploit the chaos. Support organisations that invest in proper testing and quality assurance, even if this means slower updates. For those of us who do work in the tech industry, the message is clear. We need to maintain the attacker mindset. We should approach our systems like someone is trying to break them. Test beyond the happy paths. Explore edge cases. Conduct stress testing and chaos engineering. Try to break the system. Question everything, especially when the automated tests are all green. As Cobra Kai famously put it, strike hard, strike first, no mercy. Approach testing with the intensity and thoroughness of someone whose job it is to find every possible way that things can go wrong. The CrowdStrike incident wasn't just a technical failure, it was a wake-up call about the risks of over-relying on automation and the importance of maintaining human oversight in our increasingly connected world. The good news is that this disaster has sparked important conversations about testing practices, organizational culture, and the balance between speed and safety in software development. Companies around the world are reviewing their own processes and asking hard questions about their testing strategies. The bad news is that as our systems become more complex and interconnected, the potential for similar incidents only grows. We need to learn from CrowdStrike's mistakes and build more resilient, more thoroughly tested systems. What do you think? Have you experienced the impact of a major software outage? What steps do you think companies should take to prevent similar incidents? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you found this deep dive to be helpful. Appreciate this is something a little bit different from what I normally do here on the channel, but this is very much tied in with what I do as my day job. Believe it or not, this YouTube channel does not pay the bills. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content about technology, cybersecurity, and the lessons we can learn from when things do indeed go spectacularly wrong. And if you work in tech, share this with your team, because the next time someone says, "Hey everyone, the automated tests are all green, we're good to ship," you'll know to ask, but have we tested like attackers would? Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.